The workers' movement has always been built on international solidarity, and we must not forget those across the globe who don't know whether they're actually going to get to the destination of work alive. They don't know whether they're going to be able to come back and see their families. We must not forget those who are perilled because of the capitalists and the private profiteering companies who lock them up in factories. That is not acceptable, and we will not accept that anyway. Solidarity to all of those workers. When I was asked to speak at today's event, I thought about the first media event, which was to do with fighting for an 8-hour working day. An 8-hour working day. This really made me think of the members I have represented. A high number of United members I support across London, working in the public sector, in particular health, are working more than one 12-hour shift because they have no choice. They can't afford not to. Many of the marginalised workers we work with are outsourced workers. As a trade unionist for over 20 years, I fought against outsourcing in schools, local authority services, and most recently within health. I have also stood alongside workers, listening to their struggles for better pay, conditions, and a standard living of wage. I've seen firsthand the daily hardships many workers face, struggling to meet basic needs while being forced into worse working conditions. More work for less pay. Comrades, these workers are worth more. They should not have to do 2 jobs to pay their rent and put food on their table. Their children and family they care for should not have to crave the present any longer. Enough is enough. Prices have risen 32% faster than wages since spring 2021, and yet a local council like Birmingham are trying to slash wages even more. And this week we have heard local government workers may be given a 3.2% pay award, teachers 4%, NHS workers around 3%, but anything over 2.8% will need to be paid through existing budgets. This is outrageous. Public services are already on their knees, and you don't have to delve much deeper to see what workers in outsourced services are in. They're in a worse position, suffering from pay cuts, a deterioration of terms and conditions for decades, and are predominantly migrant workers and women. UNIT is organising on pay and training in health service laboratories, a private pharmacology organisation employing 1,400 workers. Over 6 sites, they deliver essential services. Heathrow, owned by some of the richest in the world, including the Qatari state, is out there expanding massively, making millions of profits. Yet, we have 70 outsourced BA workers contributing to the profits made, employed by OCS, who are currently on strike for decent pay. They currently receive the minimum wage and are fighting for pay parity with other OCS employees in the Heathrow area. We have 700 members, and again, predominantly black migrant workers who service passengers with restricted mobility, working for Wilson James. These workers are paid substantially less than their counterparts in Gatwick Airport, who are also employed by Wilson James. How fair is that? The Rapid Response Team, employed by Guys at St Thomas's, and employed under Essentia, a wholly owned subsidiary. They have been on strike for fair pay and adequate rest and wash facilities. These workers put their lives at risk on a daily basis, decontaminating highly infectious areas which have been exposed to monkeypox, Ebola, etc. They use dangerous chemicals which can affect their health due to prolonged exposure. Any worker should not have to raise issues that affect their life and well-being, especially when they are putting their lives at risk to protect every one of us here today. Owned subsidiaries, arms-length bodies, etc. As far as I can see, these entities open the door to privatisation, and this needs to stop. The government needs to stop driving public services into the ground, increase taxes of the rich, and put public money back into the services now. In future, These battles should be able to progress at pace, given the current government's commitment to insourcing and changes to trade union laws. But comrades, it's not going to be as easy as that. Although there are some positive changes, the government hasn't gone far enough, not banning zero-hours contracts and fire and rehire. We are now witnessing an increase in the gap between the richest and the poorest, the worst cuts to welfare benefits, the worst cuts in the history of the NHS. I'm sure you will all agree, we need to end this. Comrades, the fight goes on, and this government needs to understand the driving down of wages, cutting public services funding, plays into the hands of the far right, and we are not on this. United are a clear message for any government, and that message is, you will not defeat us, and if you continue to not listen to the voices of workers, we will continue to rise in our numbers, and we will ensure that you hear and feel the pain of the workers and the power of the union. Solidarity prayer.